I'm talking to a church whom some of you have given God a date. If you don't do this by this time, I will renounce my faith. If you don't do this by this time, I won't serve you again. Sir, look unto Jesus. In your walk with God, God will tell you, I love you, but every circumstance around you doesn't look like love. He said, I look unto Jesus and learn, because at a point he could ask the Lord, why have you forsaken me? Nothing looked like God loves him, but he still loved him. When Jesus said in John chapter 3, the Father loves the Son and he has committed all things into his hands, the disciples didn't find it difficult to understand. Why? Because he was raising the dead, he was healing the sick. When Jesus said the Father loves the Son, they believed, because at that time he was multiplying bread for 5,000 people. That is what love is about. He was walking on water, he was raising the dead, he was healing the sick, he could command money for fish to bring it. That is the love of a father. But when it got to a point on the cross, the reason why even the group leader denied him is because this cannot be love. If the Father truly loves you, he cannot let you go through this. That is the reason why the Bible said he had 12 disciples, he had multitudes following him, but on the cross only one, and his mother was there. Because at that point people began to think, this cannot be the love of God. If things are working for you, thank God, but don't condemn the next person. You have no idea what the love of God is doing for you. Is making you smile, but to another is making the person cry. That is why in Revelation chapter 21 he said that, and I saw the earth and heaven pass away, and he said I saw the new Jerusalem come, and God dwelled among men. And he said that when God came down, he wiped away the tears. He said that for God shall wipe. He didn't say his angels, he didn't say his servants, he said for God himself shall wipe away the tears of them that cry, and he will say to them that no more shall you suffer, no more pain, no more sorrows. He said God will be wiping tears. Why? Because while some people laughed, and the love of God brought celebration to some people it brought tears to a point that even death could not stop the tears. After death they were still crying. If you are being delayed in something, love is working. If you are struggling with what everybody is taking it light and easy, love is working. I came for some few people here who are beginning to think that the love of God is against them. It's not against you, it's rather working. There is an aspect of God's love that has not been taught yet. There is an aspect of God's love that we do not preach about. But I came to tell you, those who suffer most for God are glorified the most. If you ask God, God, why did I fall sick? He said, love. God, why did this calamity come? He says, love. Why did I go through that problem? He'll tell you, love. God has only one answer to all the whys in the world: love. Sometimes the devil has the how. The devil knew how to humiliate Jesus. He knew how to make Jesus go naked. He knew how to nail Jesus on the cross. He knew how to turn the whole city against Jesus, but he didn't know why he was succeeding. Until after everything was done, the Bible said that if the princes of this world knew, they wouldn't have crucified the Lord of glory. It was after everything he understood the why. When God was quiet, can I tell you something? Sometimes the love of God will make God silent over your situation. So silent. The worst thing is that you can go to play somewhere and pray with somebody, sit down, kneel down with somebody and pray. He will go back with a testimony. You will still remain the same. Love is speaking. There are some people who had to sometimes walk to church. God, I'm serving you, at least give me transport. There are people who just needed. Yes, last week a man of God came and said that at a point in time he was eating garri and salt. The love of God for you when there was nothing is still the same as the love of God for you when there is everything. It doesn't change. The same way many of us ask the Lord, Lord, I sowed seeds when I wanted to write the exams. Lord, I sowed seeds when I started that ministry, that business. I gave my all, I fasted. But the more I fasted, the more I failed. And God will tell him, I loved you so much that the devil envied you. It is out of love that you had to go through that. Once they watch Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego pushed into fire. There were some people who said, these boys have made a mistake. Their God didn't save them. But they didn't know that the love of God has different plans and different manifestations. There are times that you will escape the fire. There are times that you will enter the fire. There are times that when you enter the fire, he will save you in the fire. There are times that the fire will kill you. It's still love. Jeremiah will sit down and say, God, the reality I'm facing is different from the promise you gave me. In the pit, Joseph was saying, God, the reality is different from the dream. What is happening? I might not have the money you have. How deceptive that you use your breakthrough to think that measure the love of God for you. Sir, your breakthrough, the fact that things are going well, that's deception. The worst thing that ever happened to the church was to try to define the love of God in our terms. In our terms. If this thing happens to me, then God loves me. If it doesn't, then I cannot say it's love. That is why many of us have given up. There are many of us, we are singers, but we have given up. We are ushers in church, but the worst thing is that some preachers have given up. Have given up. Everything, whatever they say, is a clear message of somebody who is despaired. Aside, the love of God speaks different. If you find me tomorrow broke more than I am today, it doesn't change God's love. If you find me much richer than today, it doesn't change God's love. No. If you find this church far bigger tomorrow than today, it doesn't change God's love. And if you find it far smaller than today, it doesn't change God's love. I want to tell you that God's love is constant. It doesn't change. Situations changes, but God's love doesn't change. He speaks in the beginning and speaks at the end. And everything you will ever go through, the end will make one statement. It will confirm the love of God over your life.